Paula?
We're live?
We're live.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everyone. We have agendas available. Welcome, Ross.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we have minutes from August 20th and September 3rd.
I would move to approve both those minutes as written.
I would second that. Moved and seconded to approve the August 20 and September 3rd minutes. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Now we have the Greg and Deborah Schatz conservation easement. Paul, would you enlighten us on that, please?
Excuse me, Jim.
S.C.
No, excuse me.
Okay, thank you.
Schatz, S-C-H-A-T-Z. Gregory and Deborah. And the conservation easement is with Montana Land Reliance. Location, Jim, you could help me, but I'm thinking it's about 15 miles west of Fairfield.
It's farther than that.
20 miles west of Fairfield?
Right there. Roughly. There's Fairfield.
Yeah.
And I live right there, so it's right in my back door.
Southwest of Jim's ranch.
Township 22 North, Range 6 West, Sections 24 and 25. That's only portions of those two sections. The entire easement is 240 acres. We're just asking, as we have now decided that this would be done at a public meeting, asking for any public comment. That's going to be up Jim's call on when that should occur, but I have taken comment from the planning board. The only request that I would submit to the Land Reliance was concerning access. And what I explained to the board member was this is an existing parcel, so it's not like a new subdivision where we need to look at what the legal and physical access is to this parcel. It's an existing parcel, so we aren't, that isn't part of the criteria.
To answer that question, there is a existing county road easement
On the
through that
west.
parcel. So there is.
That dog leg on the bottom right there. There's an old county road that's still on the books on the west side there.
Okay. And then looking at a aerial photograph, it appears to be grassland. Coulee is the current use.
Yeah. And there is a up kind of in a not little to the right and middle on the top, right by kind of where your cursor was. He's
Here?
put a cabin, a little log cabin in there, and there is an L-shaped open front shed up there.
Okay, so I can show you where the building envelopes, according to the easement, would be. There's two building envelopes. So I'm assuming that those buildings would be in this building envelope. It's 5 acres. It's in the northeast corner. And then in the southwest corner, there's a 2-acre building envelope. So that's part of the restrictions that the easement has, and certainly it restricts future divisions of the property, and certainly how much building can be done on the property. when we look at how it fits county into the county, there are most of the other easements are west of this, but it is close to other easements. Got quite a few acres. I don't know what the number is nowadays, but quite a few acres in Teton County under easement. This one would be relatively small in relation to other easements, 240 acres. And it's kind of out in the middle of just open space.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, any specific questions on that? You know, I do have the other maps that they provide. They provided 3 maps with this.
Paul, do the Schatzes own the property right now, or are they purchasing it from someone?
No, they own it, yeah. Well, and pretty much that, as far as I know, an easement has to be done with the person
Owner
that
of the
owns it, so.
They bought it from some people, I don't remember their names, but they bought it from Sam Rose.
Oh, okay. Is this where Sam's Corrals are?
No, it's west.
Farther west than that?
Yeah, turn west of Jackson's Corner, and then it's north of the road a
Quarter
of a mile.
half a mile.
half a mile.
And just for a personal note, I border it on the north and on the east.
Okay.
And to let you know, so several planning board member comments. One was from a planning board member who has an easement and thought, maybe I should be recusing myself. I told them no, that's exactly the kind of experience I think we're looking for, and thus why we have, you know, the board is, I think it's fine that they have a easement, yet there still can comment on this particular easement. And then the other was from an adjacent landowner, and again I said, yes, I think you should be commenting as an adjacent landowner, so that's fine too. And of course they're always trying to get these done by the end of the calendar year. So they did contact me early saying how long of a process. We have 90 days. We don't generally take 90 days to provide comment. We'll be providing comment in probably less than 30 days on this one if I do that when we're finished with this meeting.
Yeah, you know, as far as gravel resource, I don't see that as an issue. There's plenty of other gravel in the area if it comes to that.
Well, and that just doesn't seem very accessible for a location that it would be prime for us to try and work some kind of gravel pit out there. But
Yeah, I have no major concerns on it.
I'm gonna see if anybody else has comment to it this time.
Any other?
Anybody else? So, and I believe we just have to review and comment. We don't have to take any action because I don't think we
don't have that authority.
No authority.
Okay, well, thank you, Paul. And now we've been asked by the hospital board to appoint a member, being there was no election needed, and they're requesting we appoint Ron Dewalder to the hospital district board, and he has been a member before.
So I would move to appoint Ron Dewalder to the hospital district board.
I would second that. Been moved and seconded to appoint Ron Duwalder to the District Hospital Board. Any discussion?
It's gonna be a short term,
Several hours.
yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Now we have a WIC contract for the Health Department. The master agreement. The total is $139,692. And this is kind of a continuation deal.
I would move to approve that contract.
Been moved. I'll second. Been moved and seconded to approve the WIC contract. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Commissioner reports. There's another town hall meeting tomorrow from Mako that I plan on coming into to sit in on. This, in my mind, have been very beneficial.
I guess Jim and I are planning to go to the hospital district meeting tonight just in case they need any clarification or anything.
Public comment.
So maybe just for, just to share some information, I was contacted this week from an engineer from the National Forest about the bridge over the South Fork. And he was wondering about LiDAR data, whether that's available right now for Teton County. I let him know that it is in the works. It's probably not available and won't be available till January, but gave him the contact info for DNRC, who's collecting the LiDAR data. When it's available, it's going to be available publicly through the Montana State Library. I think that's just a little ways off, but that's another project that's going to see some benefit from this information already being collected and available. So hopefully it kind of fits into their schedule where they're going to be able to say, yep, we'll, rather than try and do all this engineering, we'll wait for that LiDAR data to be available and then go forward from there.
Paul, what was it called? LiDAR?
LiDAR, L-I-D-A-R.
Which isn't an acronym
Elevation. Yeah, that I don't know.
Oh,
But
so
it's
an
it's
acronym.
basically elevation information.
That's
Ground elevation.
And that's being collected again, Paul, because of the ongoing floodplain remapping project.
Correct. Yeah.
Part of that grant DNRC got from FEMA.
Yeah.
Alrighty, thanks for that.
Hello, gentlemen and ladies. We have a board meeting next week, which the information will go out today. And the general consensus so far is we will meet in Conrad because we can socially distance and it will be appropriate. So we'll have our quarterly meeting. We did receive the extra $400,000 from EDA, and Paula will be in contact with you. Part of the request is for planning. Your growth policy is going to be up in the next 2 years. We'll be able to use funds either to hire someone for the entire region to do growth policies. We'll do an RFP that way, and we'll have the majority of the funds so that if the cities or counties wanted to apply like to CDBG for $5,000, they could do it because we'd be able to help supply the match or the rest or whatever, but it'll be a budgetary thing, we'll get all figured out. And then we'll be hiring someone to do some more business assistance given the COVID issues, and businesses just totally being taken aback, and some hugely struggling, some were doing great, and now we're going into fall and they're having a lot more issues and things. So maybe to do some more long-term longevity planning, helping people really taking a look at their budgets to really account for different things like that. And tons of people helping with EIDL loans. SBA is always fun to deal with when you're dealing with the federal government. And then working through all of the state grants that are out there. And you know, everyone received the second round of business stabilization. If they received the first round, they received an email and they just had to click. But the clicking isn't working so much. So there's been some issues. So I have been online with many people going into their submittable accounts, trying to figure everything out that way. Because we had applied for $10,000 with the first social services grant, which we're going to be able to use to assist counties with their participation in Sweetgrass Development. We were able to do the second round as well. So as soon as those are approved, I had the invoices showing paid to send to everyone, but now I'm going to hold off on those because I think we can use those funds to do the same thing. So it would be for 2 years for local government to help out with dues, and I put in the grant local government assistance. So so then we're saving each county $4,000. So that will be as much as we can do to benefit like that. I'm glad Ross is here, trying to get through power, water, and sewer. They're working on, and Ross, do you want to give the update? I can't see you, this is so bizarre. Do you want to give the update to them real quick?
Well,
I mean, you're working on water rights,
yeah.
and then trying to get through USDA.
Our biggest challenge is dealing with 4 funding agencies.
Yep.
I should have done it by myself, I guess. Ross, Fitzgerald, Power, Water, and Sewer District. And we've been at this almost 2.5 years. So we've, the minutia of paperwork that's required, and Sarah's been trying to wade through it so we can get on with the next step. In the meantime, as she said, we're working on getting our water permits transferred to a parcel of land that we bought out on the bench there to duplicate what Tri-County did on the north end of the bench, so that we have clear, clean water basically to deal with rather than mud sludge. And it's pretty much destroyed our plant in terms of pumps, piping, the whole 9 yards. And even though we can still produce potable water, it's variable at times, not unsafe, but variable in terms of sediment sneaking through. So we are destined for a funeral on that plant if we don't get all this stuff done in the next year or so.
Yeah.
So we're already figuring before we can even knock a shovel of dirt out, it's be midsummer of 21. So if we can get through the RD USDA system somehow and then just roll everything together, it's creeping up on just short of $3 million project because of all the extensions, and hopefully within the state we'll get those extensions for next year as well. So depending what kind of money's come to the legislature and the feds, we're kind of hanging out in the wind.
That current water source is surface water from Muddy Creek? Is that what?
Yes, that's where it was established in about 72 when they finished the first plant. But we're coming up on increased testing, not only for E. coli, but the supposed threat of spiral, the shellfish. What is it?
Sporidium.
Cryptosporidium.
Cryptosporidium.
It hasn't been proven in cold climates, but anyway, the bottom line is we can't keep ahead of the testing, and so between the failure of the plant and cost of testing and worry, we've got to get this new water source, which will bypass basically the old system, and we'll just have a treatment out there just like Tri-County does. And that way, the water, we're dealing with a few stock water rights downstream, but so far we don't think we have to mitigate much. We have 50 acre feet, we're trying for 70 or 75. So there's a gap there, we'll have to deal with the DNRC. So that is in a nutshell. We got multiple things to do, including the minutia paperwork poor Sarah has to deal with RD.
Well, and the big thing from an economic development standpoint is not only just the quality of the water, they can't add any new users and power. If someone were to build a house, they couldn't build a house. They can't connect to the water system because they are at capacity. So when a house is sold, someone buys it up right away. Lots that have old things. Carol was telling me that someone had bought a lot, and because it was already connected, they were okay, but they can't add a single person to that system. So there's no chance for growth. There's no chance for development. There's no chance for anything. And then you come into one of the members of the district board sent me an email. If you need additional pictures of the water quality, here are some, and she sent it just a couple weeks ago. So it's a big deal, and we're literally trying to wade through funding sources, and we're just coming up on a roadblock with one of them that I had a really good conversation with the engineer this morning that we're trying to figure out why it's taking so very long, because the district had submitted that application in January, and now it's going to be after October 1st before they make a decision on the funding. And so there's my true frustration is everyone else is in line, and now we're having issues because RRGL's amounts are coming in lower, and they don't know when those funds will come in for the RRGL funds. So it'll be maybe after the first of the year, and none of the others will sign contracts until all the funding sources are in place. So the district is just kind of hanging in the wind until all of this can be done. So it's very frustrating and very unfortunate, because this is one of those projects that has to happen. There's not a question of that. Either that or they have to totally go through and redo their water treatment plant with UV testing, just with UV and everything just for the testing. But that still doesn't address the water quality issues and the water rights issues with muddy and everything else. So it
All
makes
right.
me irritated.
Good luck.
More oxygen.
Oh, it's
I'm getting tired of breathing CO2.
All
So
right.
Ross, when you guys finish it, is the new water source still Muddy Creek, or is it a different water source?
No,
Is it well?
it's gonna be well water off on the east end of the bench. We've got a
Okay.
parcel,
You've got a
45
well.
acres we've bought in a drainage. And with a collection system there, maybe 3 to 5 pumps, we think we can get it done. We just have to get it through the DNRC for that extra amount of water, because we do have some industrial interest in power, but we can't provide them water at this point.
yeah.
But they're arguing about our growth formula and all kinds of things. So, but to have power survive Melody, it's going to be critical to get this project done.
I can write up something really quick with Ross and send it to you too, Melody, because they have 5 funding sources. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 funding sources. And USDA is a grant and a loan. So if you really wanted to get technical, it's 6 different funding sources to get this done in order to keep the cost down for the users. Anyway.
Alrighty, well, thanks for the update. Anybody have anything else? If not, we stand adjourned, and our next meeting will be
1st.
October 1st?
Yep.
I might just add that normally we would be in Commissioner Convention about this time of year. It's going to be all virtual, which I'm not a big fan of. But that's the way it is. So, and that'll be next week, I think, isn't it?
Yep.
Is it?
I believe so.
I should maybe pay attention. I haven't gotten an email.
I haven't really either.
Yeah, we got one
We get one from Mako.
on the Healthcare Trust.
Gotten anything on any agenda or anything, and I kind of need that if I'm going to take minutes. I wonder if I have to if it's a Zoom meeting if they're already done.
Most of the ones I've been attending, I'll record them, so.
Yeah.
The 28th
Well,
is
we
the
have to have minutes.
annual meeting on the Healthcare Trust.
Oh, so it will be next week. Oh,
28th.
week after.
You know, there's some of that stuff that's got to be business that's got to be done by the body, and it's the only way to do it.
They're debating the same thing about next session.
Yeah, I was wondering, what are they gonna do with the legislature,
Yeah, so
Ross?
Ross, what's up with that?
They'll come in with welding helmets.
Okay.
Yeah, SCBA's. Got the new chairs on.
Done.
Yeah, I believe so. Thank you.
Yep.
There was a survey sent out a month or two ago, and the legislative council is having to wrestle with how they're gonna fit everything together according to all the mandates and dictates, which could spread the whole session out over the city. It could limit the public's access, which is not good. It's hard to do business unless you're staring eye to eye. and-
These Zoom meetings, you don't get anything out of them.
No.
I'm not a fan of them either.
So I voted no on everything, just saying, hey, we gotta just prepare for it. Do business as usual, whether it's calling for masks in the hallways or not in the session or whatever the deal is. Sooner or later, we've gotta get some kind of herd immunity in here, in my mind.
Well, and there's just such a varying opinions out there on the effectiveness of masks
Mm-hmm.
and all that stuff. And
Well, I have taken to buying more breath mints.
You're not eating as many onions or as much garlic.
Pretty tough on me.
I can't do it with the smoke right now. I'm sucking on my asthma inhalers as is, and I put that mask on, and I went